Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Alright guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it as well. Also, if you have time, it would be great to get a comment from you today in the comment section. Alright guys, so let's chat about somebody that messaged me last night. So I got a message from a guy, okay, and he used to be. I was getting ready to say he is. He used to be in a relationship with an Aquarius. Something happened. He's a Gemini, and something happened. He didn't tell me what it was, and the Aquarius and him broke up. He said it was his fault, but he didn't tell me what he did. So whatever he did, the Aquarius and him broke up, and the Aquarius moved on with her life. So he said to me, he doesn't understand why Aquarius have such a hard time forgiving people. And I said, well, why do you think she hasn't forgiven you? And he said, well, she won't, she doesn't call me. If I do call her, she'll be, he said he texts her. He said, if I text her, she'll be polite, she'll respond, but she doesn't really engage and she never seeks him out. So, and this happened a long time ago. It's been like 2 years at this point. So he was thinking that by now she would have forgiven him and they could at least be friends. So he was like, why do I think Aquarius have such a hard time with forgiveness? Now, the first thing I want to say is that I don't feel like this is a forgiveness issue. I don't feel like she hasn't forgiven him. And this is something, I'm glad he brought this up because it gives me a chance to mention it to you guys, because this is one of what I feel is a big misconception about forgiveness. People assume that if you forgive someone or some situation or some people or whatever the case is, that you have to engage with them. And you absolutely do not. Just because you forgave somebody doesn't mean that you embrace them again and take them back into your bosom. And in some cases, allow them to victimize you again. That's not what it means. Forgiveness is simply the act of letting go of something that's painful. That's all it's about. It's about letting it go, letting go of the hurt and the anger, the bitterness, the frustration, whatever you're holding on to, the hurt, the grief, whatever you're holding on to from the situation. That's forgiveness. It's letting go of the toxic emotions that are not doing anything for you anyway. Not doing nothing for you and not doing nothing for the other person. So just because you forgive someone, you let go of those emotions, doesn't mean that you have to then become their friend and start singing Kumbaya. In some cases, you will. In some cases, you'll forgive someone and you'll resume the friendship or the relationship or whatever the case is, because you will realize that whatever happened, you can move past. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you'll forgive the person, but you know deep down inside that you aren't compatible. And this isn't someone that you really want to be in your life. And that's okay too. If you guys reconcile or not, it's still okay. You see, a lot of people think that you have to reconcile with them, and that's how you've proven that you've forgiven them, and that's not true. There was a woman on television, and she was talking about how her son was murdered, and she was saying how she forgave the criminals. It was more than one. She forgave the criminals who had killed her son. And when she said that, she didn't say, I forgave them and I invited them over for Christmas dinner. And she didn't say, I forgave them and now we're hanging out. Now, that could have very much happened, because sometimes it actually does. But it didn't have to, is my point. She could forgive them and be as distant as she wants to be. The thing is, did she really let go of it in her heart? Did she really release it? And that's an emotional process. It has nothing to do with the other person. You see? People don't forgive for the other person. And it's another common misconception. People don't forgive for the other person. It's not a benefit to them. In most cases, it doesn't benefit them at all. It doesn't matter to them in most cases if you forgive them or not. So it's no benefit to the other person. They're not getting off the hook here. The benefit is for us, the person who's doing the forgiving, that you no longer have these fetters on your heart, that you no longer have this pain inside of you. You see? The bitterness isn't there anymore. The hurt isn't there. The grief isn't constantly your companion. As I said the other day, the hurt and grief aren't constantly your companions. The benefit is for you, so you can be free. Because if somebody does something to you and you're still hurting from it years and years and years and years later, they're still winning. They're still hurting you. So the only way for you really to come away from that is to forgive and release all that hurt energy, all that bad energy. So I don't think that it's the case that she did not forgive him. I think she forgave him because she responds to him. If I haven't forgiven somebody, and even sometimes when I have forgiven somebody, I might not necessarily respond to their texts. She still responds. She doesn't really seek him out, but she responds. And they have conversations here and there. So that tells me that she has forgiven him, or at least is in the process. She might still be in her process of forgiving him, but she doesn't want a relationship. That's what that tells me, that she's good. So whatever he did, she's good. She's good where she's at. She's good doing what she's doing. She doesn't want that interaction anymore, but she has forgiven you. Okay? So I'm not going to say that Aquarius have a difficulty forgiving or not. I'm going to look at that a little bit more. But what I can say is that just because an Aquarius forgives you or not does not mean they're going to continue or ask you to come back into their life. So don't think that because she doesn't want to get together for coffee that she hasn't forgiven you. She very well may have, or she very well may be on that process. But it's not a relationship that she wants to resume because she probably thinks she's going to put herself in further victimization by resuming it. And the more you put yourself in harm's way, you know, we've always said that's insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So if she's already played this scene before, she's already been with you, she already knows what the result is. Will that result be the same this time? She don't know, but she's not willing to take that chance. So if I were you, instead of worrying about why Aquarius can't forgive, I would worry about not doing whatever you did again to the next one. Move on. Leave that girl alone. Leave her alone and move on to the next one. If she wants to be in your life, she will make it known. But by her actions that you've discussed, she's showing you that she is being cordial, she's being polite, but she doesn't want you back, dude. And that's the bottom line. So if I were you, I would just leave it alone and I'd move on. You know? And I also, another thing I want to tell you is, I'm not going to tell you don't, but I wouldn't walk around with guilt because of it. You said that you knew it was your fault. So the same way she has to forgive you, you have to forgive you and let it go. Yeah, you did what you did. Yes, you made a mistake. Yes, it caused you a relationship. But that is too for a reason. Maybe there's something else for you. Maybe there's something else for her. Maybe it just wasn't the right fit. So forgive yourself. Let her. She probably has or hasn't, whatever the case is, but you forgive yourself for it. Let it go and move on. Okay? All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you would like to get a reading done, please email me and I will give you an appointment. Likewise, if you would like to get in touch with me, all my social media information will be underneath this video. and my Patreon information, and my PayPal in case you want to give a donation, and also my what is that thing called? My Amazon wish list in case you want to send me a gift. All right, guys. See you later.